KyLee Woodley teaches preschool at a lab school in Texas where she lives with her husband of 18 years and their three teenage children. Having been raised in the Pacific Northwest and spent part of her adult life in Texas, she has a deep respect for American values. She grew up in an impoverished area and began ministering to homeless, drug-addicted, and desperate people while in her teens. As a result, she feels a deep sense of concern for society's unloved. This comes through in her stories, enriched with historical detail that shows how loving the unlovely is a timeless need. On weekends, KyLee co-hosts and produces the Historical Bookworm Show, a steadily growing author interview podcast for history lovers and readers of historical fiction. In her spare time, she cares for a rescue mutt, Lucky Dog, a feisty feline named Hazel, and two adorable Boston Terrier puppies. She listens to Cricket Country and K-Love Radio, reads classic books to her children, and watches Marvel movies with her husband, who might resemble Superman. KyLee, good morning. How are you?
Good morning. I am good. I'm good. Thank you for having me on, Heather. I am just so excited to see the earrings and chat with you and connect with some readers.
Yes, me too. I'm so glad that we had the opportunity to do this. And congratulations on the release of the Bandit's Redemption.
Thank you. I'm really excited. It's my debut, and I've just been so blessed by just people's kindness and generosity and support. And so yeah, I'm just really overwhelmed and blessed and grateful for that book and just the people around me in the writing community and friends and family who have just been like, they're excited with me, and I wasn't really expecting that.
I have to say the Christian writing community is unlike anything I've ever been part of. It's such a joy, and I'm really excited that we are able to connect through it and talk a little bit about the Bandit's Redemption. So, can you tell us a little bit about the book and what inspired the story?
Yes, I can. So we worked on this lovely tagline, and so I'd love to share it with you. Um, so the story is basically about a holdup gone wrong, a reluctant outlaw, and the captive she's sworn to guard. And that is our tagline. I do have the back cover copy if I can share it if you want.
Sure.
So, life in the American West hasn't been easy for French refugee Lorraine Durand. She has precious few connections and longs to return to her native land. So, when the man who rescued her from a Persian uprising following the Franco-Prussian War persuades her to help him with a deadly holdup, she reluctantly agrees. Despite his promises otherwise, the gang kidnaps a man, forcing Lorraine to grapple with the fallout of her choices, even as she's drawn to the captive she's meant to guard. And Jesse Alexander must survive, if not for himself, then for the troubled sister he left behind in Los Angeles. At the mercy of his captors, he carefully works to earn Lorraine's trust, hoping he can easily subdue her when the time comes. But as they navigate the treacherous wilderness, and he searches for his opportunity to escape, he realizes there may be more to her than he first believed. With danger lurking at every turn, they must decide whether to trust each other enough to plan a combined escape or risk falling prey to the gang's devious schemes.
Wow, I love that. That sounds so fun. Can't wait to get my hands on it. So, what inspired you to write this story?
Well, it started thinking back. It's been a year or two, honestly, since I started it. But I was with a group of authors and we kind of had a challenge. I was actually part of what was supposed to be a box set, and I had to withdraw from that because I got a new job and we were moving across the country. But I'd already started this story that was supposed to be, there were requirements to be in the box set, it had to be set in the Old West, and be in a certain time frame. And I've always loved the outlaw trope. And so it's really used a lot in Western movies and books. And so I was like, well, I don't want to do the same old thing. And, what if the outlaw is a woman? And I always approach something like that really carefully and respectfully. But I know growing up, I've had a lot of strong women in my life. And so I went ahead and decided to go with that. And then research just led really to kind of who Lorraine is. And it was originally a novella. And I got really caught up in figuring out how they would travel from Idaho, what was it? Mountain Caribou in Idaho down to Salt Lake City and just looking at the different routes they would take. And then we travel across the country every year to see my family up north, and we go that route. And so I was also looking at like historical landmarks and just found all these fabulous places to stop. And so the story just kind of followed that, and then there's a little mystery in there, little twist at the end. So yeah, that's sort of how the Bandit's redemption came to be.
I love it. I also write historical romance, and it's so fun when you start working on your research. It's like I think I could get six more books out of out of just the research for one. It's hard to pin it down to just what's essential to the book. It's the research part is so fun.
Yes, agreed.
So what are you working on next?
Well, I just received a galley copy for book two, The Bounty Hunter Surrender. Each book has an element of like sort of an outlaw. But I'm writing book three. And so that has just been so much fun, really wrapping things up for the series itself. And each book can be read as a standalone. There's like a romantic couple in each one, and they're connected by this family, the Alexander family. It's set in the West, the Wild West during the Gilded Age. And so that's really been a lot of fun. So right now I'm researching Virginia City, Nevada, which was a mining town, and it's just you can go there now. It's a ghost town, but they have a lot for tourists. And we went there last summer. My husband's family's from that area, and that has been so much fun. So much fun.
I love it. So we're going to go ahead and get into our lightning round of questions, get to know you a little bit better. So we'll start with, what is your favorite genre to read?
Historical romance, inspirational because I get so embarrassed I can't read something if the bedroom door is open. Can't watch it. I always tell my kids I have teenagers, and so we have a lot of topics about dating and what's appropriate and all the things. And so I'm like, I would not peek into someone's bedroom window and watch them. So I am not going to watch them on TV or read them in my books.
Absolutely, I agree. Who is your favorite author?
I've tried to find a favorite author. I just kind of had a handful, but at the top would be Michelle Grebe, Mary Connealy, Rosanna M. White.
Very good. Some of my favorites as well. What is your favorite way to spend a quiet evening?
Well, if I've worked all day, I just need quiet. Like I just need to have like quiet around me in the house and like quiet within myself. But I mean I do a lot of reading and writing.
Always a good way to spend an evening for sure. Are you a plotter or a pantser?
And somewhere in between, I've found that I do need a certain level of structure when I start a story so that I don't kind of lose my way and lose the vein of the story, so to speak. But as I go, I research and plot in chunks, and I probably stop at least twice before getting to the end of a book. I pre-research, start writing, and I need to stop at least twice to just like kind of fill that creative well and look at what I have. So somewhere in between.
I like it. I think most of us fall somewhere in the middle. But I love hearing other people's process for taking that creativity and getting it on paper or computer screen, as it were. If you could
Yes.
spend a day as a character in any book, who would it be?
Um, oh, I would probably want to be a character who gets to time travel because that would be neat.
That would be fun.
Um, I don't know. I'm trying to think of like I would probably just want to be me and go visit the characters of Michelle Greep's latest book of Golden Shadow. I really loved her heroine in that one. She was so like spunky and funny and intelligent and she did interesting things and was caring. So I would probably go back to Michelle Greep's book.
I like it. So, what was one of your favorite toys as a child?
Dolls, but I took them everywhere. I took them outside to climb trees with me. I took
Oh,
them fishing with me. So it's a
that's
good
so
mix
fun.
there. But yes, I loved having baby dolls, and I work with kids now. I have three children, so I don't know. There's just something special about babies and children that's always appealed to me.
I agree. So, do you prefer friends to lovers or enemies to lovers?
Oh, so I probably prefer enemies to lovers because it challenges me so much. There's something really special about friends to lovers as well. But if you have enemies to lovers, there's usually some kind of like forgiveness or something that needs to take place. If it's something that's really trite, I'm probably not going to read that book as far as the friends to or enemies to lovers. So, yeah.
Fun. What is one goal you haven't reached yet?
Oh, well, honestly, and this is going to sound silly, but to paint my kitchen. We moved into a new house and I have been working so hard on these books. I have like this beautiful plan for my kitchen and it just is there waiting for me. And I'm like, if I could just finish book three, I could paint the kitchen. So, not a big life goal, but right now that is important to me.
Absolutely. It's amazing. And I do have to say, just what our families um, sacrifice, what our homes sacrifice, what everything else on our to-do list sacrifices so we can write. So I think that's a great goal, and I'm excited for you to be able to paint that soon.
Me
Do you
too.
prefer coffee or tea?
I drink coffee. Now, I don't have anything against tea. If I drink tea, I usually drink herbal tea. I live in the South now, and there are, I mean, sweet tea is a thing down
Mhm.
here. But I grew up in the Pacific Northwest and lots of cold, rainy days, so always have had coffee with me.
Do you like to do anything else crafty or creative?
I do. So this last Christmas, I did some work with resin and making Christmas presents and ornaments and different things that it was just so fun. But I also quilt and sew. Used to sew all my girls' dresses and love to design quilts and don't have a lot of time for that now, but I do love sewing.
Aw, that's a lot of fun. I love hearing how creative people, the other things that they do that are creative, things that they use, they work with their hands or things that they design. It's so fun to learn that about other people. Do you prefer an e-reader or a physical book?
I'm gonna say e-reader, and here's why, even though I just love holding books and feeling the paper and setting that bookmark in there. But right now, my life is just really fast paced. And if I have an e-reader, I can either have Alexa read it to me in her amazing robotic voice, or I can get an audio version. If it is so hard for me to sit down and dedicate 6, 7 hours to a paperback. So that's where I'm at.
I get it. We all have those seasons of what works better for us. If you could go back in time and spend a day in any era, what year or what era and location would you go to?
I would love to go to the World's Fair. Probably, I would probably go in Seattle because that's where I've done the most research. I just love Puget Sound and the mountains, and Seattle's a beautiful city. And so I would like to go back to the World's Fair that they had. Was it 1908? I can't remember, but I would love that would be so neat. Like if I could just spend a day at the World's Fair, yes, please.
I'm from St. Louis, and we had the World's Fair in 1904. And
Oh,
so I don't know if you've ever seen Meet Me in St. Louis, but like that has had my heart since I was a little girl. And I've always thought the same thing. Getting to go to the World's Fair would be so fun.
yeah.
So, do you have a favorite snack?
Okay, and this is silly, but I like Granny Smith apples sliced with salt and lemon.
I
Yeah,
like
and when I was a kid, I would
honey.
cut them in fries, and I called them salty fries or something shit silly like that. But you like them with honey?
I like them with honey, but my husband puts salt on his
Oh,
apples all the time. That's his favorite.
yes.
How do you pick names for your characters?
That's a good question. I used to do a lot of research into picking names. I've been writing for 10 years or so. And so I have a backlog of manuscripts. But just recently, a lot of times I'll look at like when the character was born, what nationality they are, what their parents may have been exposed to, what names are popular on the census records, and then just kind of a name that really, as I'm getting to know the character, strikes true to me. For book two of this series, um, the heroine is the sister of book one's hero. Yes. So she had a different name all through book one. And I turned in, my draft and everything, the first draft, started writing book two. And I was like, she's just not a Beth. She's just not. And so I found her name and then they sent me like galleys or whatever. And I was like, can we just change that one name? Like, and so sometimes it's just like when you pick names for your kids, like sometimes it fits and sometimes it doesn't.
Yes, that is so completely true. We've had that with our pets. My husband kept saying, do not name her yet. Do not name that dog yet. Give it some time. And I was like, no, no, this is her name. And then later I was like, that's not her name. He was right. What was the first concert you ever attended?
Oh, well, I don't remember the name because I was in youth group and it was a small concert. But I saw Switchfoot when I was 17. We had like a youth conference that we went through, and it was in this old historical theater in the town that I grew up in. And one of my friends like dragged me to the front, and I remember the speaker, and it just like my sternum like vibrating because we were so close. But then later, like I heard Switchfoot on the radio, and they were um, they kind of grew a little bit. People probably
That's
don't know who they
fun.
are. But then I'll tell my kids, I'll be like, I went to a Switchfoot concert. They're like, who?
I love it. I remember telling my kids that I went to see DC Talk, and they were like, who? I'm like, okay, Toby Mac.
Right.
Yeah. What's a book that you're excited to read?
I'm excited to read Michelle Greep's next book, it's something of silver. Oh, and I just got Crystal Caudell's, I got I guess an advanced reader copy
Mhm.
for Written in Secret, and I'm really excited about that one too. I like a little mystery and adventure, and that one promises to be
Yeah,
good.
she is one of my favorites and such a sweet, sweet person.
Uh-huh.
If you could go sit and write anywhere, what is your dream destination to write?
Well, I have to be really careful where I write because I get distracted. I don't write in coffee shops a lot. I might go to coffee shops and send emails and write. I can like write blog posts and stuff, but to really get into the story world, I usually like to be just sitting somewhere comfortably in my home with a door, not a door, but like a window open. We have a little lake behind our house and it's just so beautiful. And so I can I don't know, sit there and write and still look out and see nature and have the wind blowing. And so that's kind of how I do that.
I like it. A little inspiration, but not so much that it's distracting. That's a good idea. What's the most difficult part of the writing or publishing process for you as an author?
I found that I really love the process. I love every step. I am under pretty It's my fault. A taxing deadline right now. My books are releasing so February, May, and October. So three books in 1 year.
Wow.
And this is my debut. And there have been times in my life when I've written three books in 1 year, just on my own. But to go through all the processes, so is a different. It requires something different from me than if I'm just writing for myself and really writing to. Because I'm in the story world and just swept away by a story, it's harder to be swept away by a story when you're on deadlines and when you're receiving critiques and edits and having to change things in other stories. So I would just say, just the timeline. I need enough time. I found that recently about myself in my writing is that I need a little more time with a story. And I'm so blessed that Wild Heart, they have been willing to be like, oh, well, okay. Well, this is what we can do. We can give you more time. So I feel very fortunate. I know other publishers would be like, that just wouldn't be the case, but they have. And so, yeah, I found that I need more time with the story for just that development and also to get to know my characters.
Yeah, that's great. What do you love most about being an author?
Well, the book came out just like 2 days ago. I don't feel like I've been a writer for a long time, but I don't know. My husband, he'll introduce me as an author, and he did before I was published, and I'd be like, stop doing that. Even though I have like articles and short stories out there. So I would say just out of, the entire time that I've been writing, I really love teaching and I love critiquing and talking and being involved with other authors and their work and and receiving critiques from them and just really the writer community. And I do teach, like I teach at conferences, I teach different things with podcasting and writing. And so yeah, it probably should be like drafting the story, and I love that too. But if I were to look at it as a whole, I've found that teaching and speaking, I'm really enjoying those.
Great. I love it. So I'm excited for this part of our interview because we get to show your beautiful book cover and the jewelry I designed inspired by your beautiful book cover. So if you want to go ahead and hold up your book.
Okay.
Oh, so beautiful. I love it. How much input did you have with the cover?
They, I fill out a question. They also sent like this sort of like paragraph or so explaining like the research that they've done and the things that they've noted are important to readers. And so that was really helpful. And then I fill out like eye color, age, season of the book. So quite a bit. I feel like I've had quite a bit of input in that. And then for this one they sent me two copies or two drafts. Two proofs, sorry, to pick from. And one of them, she was like closer up, and it was just her without any male model, kind of off to the side. And I chose the one with the male model. Both of them had like the cowboy hats, and I also feel like I'm blessed that they Wild Heart books, they have really beautiful covers. And so yeah, I did have a little bit of input in there. My main input is the questionnaire. And so when I fill that out, I try to be very specific and understanding like what's important to the story. Not necessarily like she has to have this, not trying to describe a scene or something like that. It's really more, I see it as like an inspirational piece. Um, and so yeah, that's been a lot of fun.
Oh, I love that. That's so exciting. Congratulations. And you did a great job because that book cover is beautiful. So I tend to make really large earrings. I get carried away and I'm a big earring girly. So, but I do know that many of my readers have said we like small earrings too. So I went with a little more dainty piece this time. So this is the set that I made. It's got the colors of your cover, and this is wood up
Yeah.
here. And then I just put a little flower on it just to give it a little touch. but these are the earrings that we're going to use for our giveaway. So when this goes live on Monday, you and I will both be posting it on our social media, and our
Yes.
readers, all they have to do is follow both of us on Facebook and or Instagram, their choice. And then, or both would be great.
We did.
And they're gonna like one of our giveaway posts and comment done. That's all they have to do. And then Wednesday night, we will pick a winner from all those names. And I will do a short video announcement with the winner. We've had scammers that try to message people and tell them they're the winner, and that's not nice. So to avoid that, you'll see a video from me, and that's how you'll know if you're the winner. And the winner will get a copy of the book and a set of earrings. And so it's so exciting. I'm really glad I got to have this time with you this morning and learn more about you. Where can our readers find out even more and get a copy of this beautiful book?
You can connect with me at my website, KyleeWoodley.com, and I have a newsletter there. I think my newsletters are probably the most personal connection that I have. When I start writing, I just feel like I'm writing to my friends, and I'm a little more silly and share a couple photos. And I love researching history. So if you do enjoy history, you'll find some things there that you'll enjoy. And then I'm also on Instagram because I love photos and I love book covers and I like looking at old historical photos. And so I'll share there on Instagram and Facebook.
Wonderful, KyLee Woodley. It was so great to see you and meet with you this morning. Thanks so much.
Thank you for having me on, Heather. I've had a lot of fun.
Me too.